Welcome back to Recap IT. Today we are going to recap a 2006 horror thriller movie titled When a Stranger Calls. Jill, a teen babysitter, becomes concerned when she begins receiving ominous anonymous phone calls. Nothing, however, can prepare her for the horror she will experience when she discovers where the calls are coming from. But before we begin, please consider subscribing to this channel. Now, without wasting any further time, let's begin, shall we? Stacy receives repeated calls from an unknown number. However, the stranger remains silent and hangs up. Screams may be heard coming from the house. The shouts are not heard due to the loud noises outside. The police arrive the next morning to discover the bodies of a woman and 3 children who had been brutally murdered by a psychopath with his bare hands. Then we're whisked away to Fernhill, Colorado, where we meet Jill. Bobby, her boyfriend, approaches her. Jill, on the other hand, is furious with him because she witnessed him massaging Tiffany's tongue. After that, Jill goes to see Scarlett. They had planned on attending a campfire party. Jill, however, will have to babysit at night because she is grounded. Jill is picked up by her father and driven to the doctor's house, where she will be babysitting. She meets with Tim Mandrakes, a doctor, and his wife, Kelly. Kelly walks her around the house and gives her instructions for the night before she leaves. Jill is taking a look around the house and having a good time. However, she then hears the sound of someone entering the room. Jill investigates the noise and discovers the maid feeding the birds. The landline of the Mandrakes is ringing. When Jill picked up the phone, however, there was no one there. Scarlett phones Jill to inform her that Bobby has requested her phone number. Jill accepts and instructs her to provide the phone number. The alarm system goes off unexpectedly, and Jill hurries to switch it off. Kelly checks in with Jill to see whether everything is fine. Jill immediately sets out to find Rosa, but she is nowhere to be found. Someone calls the landline again, and this time it's a prank call. Jill, on the other hand, hears noises coming from a room and goes to investigate. The fridge was making a strange noise. At the landline, someone calls again. Jill picks it up, but no one is there. Jill is then startled by Tiffany. Tiffany wishes to mend her relationship with Jill and expresses regret for kissing Bobby. They reach an agreement, and Jill begs Tiffany to go. Tiffany is walking towards her car when she senses footsteps behind her. Tiffany climbs into her car and drives to the entrance. However, a fallen tree has blocked the gate. Tiffany exits the vehicle to move the tree, when she is suddenly attacked. The door is then knocked on. When Jill opened the door, there was no one there. Bobby contacts Jill to see how she's doing. However, the call is dropped due to a poor network connection. Jill receives a call once more. The call is from Tiffany, as Jill discovers when she checks the second landline. When Jill answers the phone, though, she is greeted by a stranger. Jill dials Scarlett's number, but the call is dropped due to a faulty network connection. Jill then tries to phone her father and Kelly Mandrakes, but neither of them answer. Jill then goes to the restaurant where the Mandrakes had a reservation, only to discover that they had left 40 minutes earlier. Jill also phones the cops and informs them of the incoming calls. Jill spots Rosa's car while on the phone and is relieved to learn that she hasn't left. Jill searches for Rosa and attempts to contact her. Rosa, on the other hand, does not answer the phone. As a result, Jill chases the ringtone and discovers Rosa's phone in her luggage. Jill receives another call from the stranger, this time asking whether she has checked on the kids. Jill enters the children's room and discovers them sleeping. Jill receives a call from the stranger, who inquires about the children. Jill notices that the man is watching her from a distance. Jill contacts the authorities and informs them of the stranger. The cops inquire about her address and assure her that they would be there shortly. Jill receives another call from the stranger, and she attempts to speak with him for at least 60 seconds in order for the authorities to track him down. The stranger, on the other hand, ends the call in less than 60 seconds. Jill then notices that the guest house lights are turned on. As a result, she attempts to contact Todd Mandrakes, Tim's son. But he doesn't answer the phone. As a result, Jill leaves a phone mail for him, requesting that he come over and stay with her until the cops arrive. Jill notices someone walking through the guest house and assumes it is Todd. Jill makes the decision to go to the guest home and sprints towards it. Todd was nowhere to be found when Jill looked for him. Todd's phone is ringing with a stranger's voice. Jill continues to speak with him and manages to stay on call for another 60 seconds. However, he eventually realizes that he dialed the wrong number. Jill then notices that one of the room's lights has been switched on. So she dashes over to the house to investigate. The stranger calls Jill once again but says nothing. Jill attempts to stay on call for 60 seconds and continues to speak with him. Jill is then contacted by the police, who inform her that a stranger is contacting her from within the residence. When the electricity goes out, Jill discovers Tiffany's body. She warily approaches the children's chamber, only to discover that the children have vanished. Jill discovers them inside a box. As they were about to depart, Jill notices that the door is blocked from the inside by a cupboard. From the top, the stranger is keeping an eye on them. Jill locks herself inside the door and leaps through the window with the children. Jill hides the children and enters the water. Rose's corpse is kept underwater with large pebbles, which she discovers. The kids emerge from their hiding place and dash towards the door, which is regrettably shut. Jill throws the intruder into the river when he tries to grab her. Jill is able to break free and unlock the door. She snatches the children and sprints to the door. However, the stranger comes to a halt and closes the door behind her. Jill tries to flee, but she is apprehended by the stranger. Jill flees and stabs his hand with a fireplace poker just as he was about to kill her. Jill manages to flee in the nick of time. She collides with a cop, who then arrests the stranger. The children have been reunited with their parents and are safe. Jill and the stranger exchanged stares as they were being brought to the hospital. The stranger is a maniac who has murdered numerous women and continues to harass them for hours on end. Jill awakens in the hospital and requests a nurse. But, because no one has responded, Jill decides to investigate. A phone starts ringing as she walks out. The stranger then attacks her once more. However, it turns out that Jill was traumatized by the experience and is currently being treated in a hospital, where she has developed a fear of phone calls. And this is where the movie comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, until next time.